If you follow my channel, chances are you've already seen these graveyard columns. I recently published a tutorial video on these skull plaques. You'll find the link in the description below. At the time I decided to go with gargoyles on top, and I added my imitation painted patina to those as well as the skull plaques. This video won't be a step-by-step tutorial. If that's what you're looking for, I apologize. There are dozens of tutorials available online. I encourage you to check those out. This will be a general overview of how I constructed my setup. I'll also be making some upgrades, specifically replacing the gargoyles with mounted lights on top, and one of these lights will feature a flickering effect. Here they are in the daylight. They're not especially tall, but the dimensions I chose align perfectly with the height of my fence panels. They also complement both my overall haunt display as well as my house. Here's a close-up of that patina finish I applied. Again, I did link that tutorial in the description. I'll also add the link to this gargoyle for anyone interested. I built the interior frame using 1.5 by 3/4 inch wood. I didn't follow any specific tutorial, I just kind of did my own version of it. And for anyone interested, here are the measurements. They are roughly 48 inches high, 12.5 inches deep, and 13.5 inches wide. I used 1/2-inch foam board for this entire build. I added decorative pieces I cut out along the sides and in the front, and I added the vertical strips down the front as well. I just cut all these out by hand. I attached the foam board to the wood using 1-inch drywall screws as well as Loctite foam board adhesive. Once everything was together, I painted them both with Drylock to make them look like stone and added some acrylic weathering to give it a worn look. Now, one of the most common things people ask me is how I get these to stand upright without falling over. That discoloration on the bottom is from dirt. I dig about a 4-inch deep hole for both of these columns in my yard. I actually put them in the hole and I use a level to set them properly. And inside the columns, I have a secret shelf built in the bottom. There's just enough room in these for me to take a cinder block and place it upright down on that shelf. And guys, these are super sturdy and have held up in some pretty high winds and weather here in New England. You could even use bricks or sandbags or just about anything heavy that would fit down inside. So let's start working on the lights. I found these online. I will also link these in the description. I decided to go with these because they have a great spooky look. I feel like they'll fit in perfectly with my graveyard display here. I also like the fact that these happen to have a built-in sensor to turn on and off automatically. These are exactly what I hoped for. Man, they're gonna look awesome. So the first thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna add that bluish green patina finish to match the skull plaques. I decided to mask off the glass with some painter's tape. It takes a few minutes, but it helps the painting process go a lot quicker, at least for me. These are both acrylic paints. Again, be sure to check out the skull plaque video in the description for full details on this technique. This is called dry brushing. I'm using a very small amount of paint on the brush, and the trick here is allowing that original finish to show through the paint that we're applying. And check it out, guys. Awesome. That's not a shiny finish, it's just the way the light's hitting it. It's actually a matte finish. Next up is the wiring. There are plenty of online tutorials available that will walk you through this process. Since I'm not a licensed electrician, I avoid offering guidance on this part of the process. As mentioned earlier, we're going to make the other light have a flickering effect, and I'm going to achieve this by using what's called a fluorescent starter. And again, I won't be walking you through this process, but if you search for DIY Halloween flicker bulb, I'm sure you'll find some tutorials on this part as well. So what do you guys think? Awesome. I can't wait to see these installed in my display. So after a quick mock setup, I decided to build new toppers for the lights to be mounted on. I built these using 2-inch foam board. I cut these into perfect squares and glued them together with Gorilla Glue. That bottom piece is 16 inches, the middle piece is 18 inches, and the top is 12 inches. And I painted them with Drylock to match the columns. So here's how they look. Man, I have to say, what a difference. They really knocked these to a new level. I will be adding another coat of Drylock as well as some weathering. Wow, this is really looking great. When fully installed, I'm going to run those power cables down inside the middle of the columns and I'll snake it out the back. And I do plan on installing threaded rod through the mounting holes, drilled through the foam, and I'll secure them underneath those new toppers. You know, man, these look absolutely amazing. They couldn't be any better. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe and take care.